Hello there! My name is Brent, and right now we are in the abandoned mining town of Cerro Gordo. And this town used to be the largest silver mine in California, with thousands of residents and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of ore. And for the past 4 years, I have been living up here trying to bring a little life back to the place, to preserve this town for future generations. And this month got off to a little bit of a slow start, but then it got very busy. We put a roof on a hotel that we have been rebuilding. Minerals were discovered and refined. Tons of animals have flocked back to town because of a pond that we put in. And maybe, just maybe, we have solved a water issue way up here in the high desert. A lot has happened this month, so let's get into it. So we had a visitor up here the other day that told me that after he got sick and laid up in bed for a week, it took him about a week to feel normal again in social settings. And I have not stopped thinking about that conversation since, because I have been living up here in Cerro Gordo for a full 4.5 years. And if we use his math, it is going to be 4.5 years back in a city before I feel normal again. And at this point, I can't even remember what I was like before Cerro Gordo. You know, not just because it's been 4.5 years, but I feel like the years up here are like dog years. You know, there's so much packed into every single day. You know, there's so much growth needed that if that's the case, then there's no shot of me being normal ever again, especially because I have no plans of leaving. You know, my job here is far from done, but it was something that really got me thinking, you know, about the past 4 years. You know, we've had fires, we've had floods, we've had earthquakes, we've had record heat. And I think through all of that, there's no denying that this town feels alive again, which was my goal from the very beginning. But that's not to say that I'm anywhere near being done. You know, it's almost like every year that I spend here, the more I learn that needs to get done. And so without further ado, we're gonna get into everything going on this past month up here at Cerro Gordo. In front of me is the American Hotel here at Cerro Gordo, and unfortunately, it looks very similar to the last time that I made a video update. But soon, it will look very different, and soon being tomorrow, because tomorrow, the roof finally goes on. This thing has been a battle from day one to get started, and over the past 4 years, the rebuilding of this hotel has defined not just this town, but my life in many ways. You know, this was before the American Hotel that was originally built in 1871, and this was the central meeting point. You know, this is where everybody congregated, they hung out. This is kind of the lifeblood of the town, and losing it was devastating, and it redefined my life. And it's always on the top of the mind, but I have had to make some changes with the architectures, with the plans. We've had some permitting things going on. But at this point, the main goal right now is to get this thing to have a roof, to have windows, and to have siding all before the real cold weather hits. You can see it's a little bit cold now, but we need to get this thing closed in. But right over here, past the 5-ton, you can see all of the roofing material that will be going on to the hotel tomorrow. So here's a little bit more supply for the roof. This is the wood that's gonna go on top of the insulation. And again, as with everything, this wood is down here in Keeler, which then it needs to go way up there to Cerro Gordo. And that is where the 5-ton comes in. And in a couple of days, the roofers are gonna come. We'll have a permanent roof. All right, and as you can see, the beginning of the roofing is down in Keeler. Now this all has to go up there. So all of this tomorrow will get brought up and used to finally put a roof on that thing. Shortly thereafter, the windows are ordered and the windows are gonna go in, and then it's time for the siding. And as you can see, I have been looking at different colors of siding, different ways to do this. But for right now, this stuff goes on there tomorrow. And in order to do that, we need a telehandler, a big forklift, and that is 7 miles down that dirt road at the edge of that dry lake bed. So we're heading down there. We're gonna grab the telehandler, come back up here, and you're gonna see this roof go on in real time. And here it is, the key to putting on our roof. And not only do all the supplies have to go up that 7-mile dirt road to town, all of the equipment to use the supplies to build the hotel also have to get up there. So this is gonna be a creep up the road, we go all the way up there. But that way tomorrow when the roofers come, the telehandler's there, the materials are there, it's time to finally get a roof. All right, what are we up to?
Okay, well, so today we're starting the roof on the American Hotel. Installation of the 2.0 insulation, then the plywood. Hopefully after that we'll get some underlayment going, protect us from the rain. And then hopefully by Monday or so we'll have all this with a nice metal roof on it. So.
Awesome.
All right.
Excited. All right, the roof is progressing. You can see that the exterior insulation has been put down, more sheeting has been putting on top of that, then the under laminate that's going to keep it really waterproof and weatherproof, and I am stoked. You know, I just can't wait to have this thing open. Having this open is going to fundamentally change the experience of this entire town. It's going to change the experience of my life, and it's going to be a new chapter, and it's almost hard to imagine what that's going to be like, but I am very, very excited for it. Imagine the views in here when the day comes. It's gonna be pretty good. All right, as you can see, the metal is almost done. After this, they're gonna do some flashing, some connective stuff, and the roof will be sealed. It is gonna be insulated, sealed, and weather tight for this winter. And then I cannot wait to have the windows in, the siding on, it's gonna look like a real building. But even after all that, there's still a lot to do. You know, eventually, all of that concrete block that you see will be underground. That's the basement. So the grade of this entire ground is gonna go up quite a bit because a lot of this got pushed out when we cleared out the old hotel. For now, it's a beautiful day. Roof is almost done, and that's an exciting news. All right, so where are we at?
All right, so it's Tuesday and we finished the roof.
You guys contributed to history, you know? Hopefully it'll stand for a long time.
We're all happy to be here, you know? It was a little creepy to stay in the bun house, but it was fun.
You guys did an awesome job, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. There it is, the American Hotel with a roof all the way around. That is a very beautiful sight. That is something I've been looking forward to for a very, very long time. It is historic, really, I think, for the future of the town. That roof will be there for a very long time, hopefully far beyond my days, which is crazy to think about. But we still have a lot of work to do. Need to get these windows in, need to get wrapped, insulated, sided before the winter really hits. That's a really, really big thing now. So we're going to be pressing really hard over these next few months. Look out for a lot of updates related to that. But you got to celebrate the wins when you get them. And that roof is a big win, and I'm very excited about it. And it wasn't the only big win over the past month. We also had a big win when it came to the most important thing out here in the desert, and that is water. The biggest challenge of living in the desert and living here at Cerro Gordo is water, or the lack thereof. And obviously I knew there was no running water up here at Cerro Gordo before I moved up here over 4 years ago. But I think there's a difference between understanding conceptually that you won't have water from living day in and day out for years without running water. I'm talking about the jugs to wash your hands, the bags that you heat up in the sun to take a shower, just the difficulty of cleaning anything without water. And things have gotten better since then. Now I have a working shower, I have a working sink, things are kind of under control. You know, thanks to Dave Sparks, I have a military 5-ton truck that can bring water up here about 1,000 gallons at a time. But it still seems kind of like a temporary thing. And one thing that has been lingering for years now is the water that is located 700 feet below where I am sitting. That is down in the Union Mine at the 700-foot level. Water seeps in through some cracks from somewhere. And 100 years ago, they kind of diverted this water into a sump. They pumped it up here and they were able to have water for their camp. And this battle of getting the water from 700 feet below me has been ongoing over the past 4 years. You know, I have been down and up this shaft so many times. I've done so many things, from replacing the pump, replacing 700 feet of piping, just doing anything that I can to try to get this water up here, that I've actually gone tired of it. You know, I stopped including it in videos because it seemed like beating the dead horse to talk about the water down at the 700 over and over and over again. But I'm talking about in this video, so that means something must change. And the thing that changed is we finally developed a plan, a smart plan that used the existing infrastructure here to potentially get the 700-foot water working on a permanent basis, which would just transform this town pretty much immediately. All right, today we continue what has been a years-long battle taking place in that building behind me. That is getting water. Today we have a new plan. So we're gonna go down, I think the best plan we've had yet. So we'll go over the plan, hopefully we get some water. Craig, it's going on 4 years. How do you feel?
Another day, let's do it.
Dave, so what's the plan? You're the one that engineered all this. What have we got?
Yep, so what we're doing, we're installing a sump pump or a priming pump in the pool. What it's going to do is pump water over to the Neptune pump, the main pump, to the suction side of it. There's a tether switch that'll be controlling the sump pump. When that tether switch goes high, water level's high, it'll kick on the sump pump water over to the Neptune pump. Then there's a pressure switch that will be there. And once there's pressure on the suction side from the sump pump, Neptune pump will turn on, water comes to the surface. When the water level goes low, everything turns off. So should run automatically.
That's awesome. Well, let's get it.
Theoretically,
Yeah.
this is the one.
It's a good shot.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear.
All right, back at the 700. All right, so here's the pump.
Okay, there's the spare, there's that.
Yep, let's see if we got some water.
A little water in.
Yeah, we got some water from here to town then, right?
Yeah, it's on right now. So
But we're not at 300, so there's probably not a whole lot of water in the column.
no,
I was thinking tying in here,
Uh-huh.
but that's definitely not half. That's like 3/4.
yeah, but
If you can-
we're bringing 3/4 in, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a 3/4 pack, so you just screw it right in.
But I'm going to be replacing this with the suction manifold.
Okay.
All right, this
No
is
worries.
our pump. We go over to the water source.
You get down here and there'll be no water in the pool.
I hope not. Then we got bigger
Bigger
problems. Yeah. This is a little up and over that I think that.
Okay.
And here it is.
Here's the pool. And yeah, she's
Full.
She's full, and we got
Oh,
water
Lord.
coming in.
So this is the water source, and we have a theory that maybe we're pumping this dry, or maybe we're losing prime here in this pipe. So what we're going to hope to do is put in this float, so that way if it gets below a certain level, it turns off, gets back to a certain level, it turns back on, turns off, turns on, and that way we can continuously just pull all this water that you see dripping in up to town, because this water is like gold.
Effectively, the sump pump will sit right here to kind of keep it up out of any sediment on the bottom of the pool. And then also the tether switch will hook up on here at a specific height and length on the tether. And then we have our inch markers so we can quickly tell what the depth of the pool is. And we're about 40 inches. But this is about where the level is normally.
Yeah, that's where it gets to.
Okay. I want to keep the water level about 10 inches low at the lowest, so I can keep the pump submerged, keep it cool when it's running. If you want the water level higher to start pumping, then it's going to take longer to refill. So your off times are going to be longer, and
Right.
it's a whole balancing act.
Yep.
Tight as we're going.
All right. That's in.
Send the water to the surface.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming up.
There we go. Now it's coming through.
Yep. So it's just purging air through.
Yeah. It takes a while for this thing to fill up, but I'm wondering if we need to stay back and see when this thing is at 300,
What this does.
how much fluctuation you're gonna have.
Do you want it pulsating like that? Or that's what it's gonna do? Okay.
I think we're looking okay right now. As always, you plan, design, test, build, do all the things, do have all the confidence in the world. Then you install it, you put it in the actual place and environment, and actual pump, and you see different things.
Yeah.
So I think there are a couple things I'd like to change and improve. But right now we're running the pump at 50%. The priming pump is working well. We can turn off the priming pump.
It's crazy because you look at the drip, it didn't feel like there was that much water moving over there.
Now it's flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Drip, drip,
Yeah.
drip. There we go. I fixed everything. I'm out of here.
Good. Job done. All right, just like that, the water should be flowing to the surface now. Now it's time to head on up and make sure of it. Yep, and then we'll tell them that we want to go up.
2 feet, 1 foot, and stop.
There. Well, from the where you saw it to there. Are we gonna see how long it takes to do a gallon?
Well, if they arrive.
All right, so we about 11 minutes for this gallon, just so we know. Nice. Wow, it has been 4 weeks and the water is still running down in the mine. We have pulled over 4,000 gallons of water out of that hole, and that is huge. It's historic, really. You know, 4,000 gallons is 4 trips in this military truck that we didn't have to take. And so that is very, very exciting, but we're not done. Today we are going back down into the mine to see if we can get a little bit of more water out. We're gonna see where the sump's at so we can do a little better calculations. Craig's here and we are still running 4 weeks later. So today's gonna be a good day. What do you think, Craig?
I think this is awesome. This is the longest the water's ever ran. Curious to see how low the water level is in the reservoir there. So.
All right, let's do it.
So today we're 28 days after we installed the pump control system. The pump has been running this whole time, full 28 days, 6 gallons an hour. We passed 4,000 gallons of water coming up out of the mine this morning. So today we're going down to do some upgrades to kind of make the longevity of the components a little bit better, make it to where we can run the Neptune pump at a higher rate. We can pump more water out if we so choose. But probably the most exciting thing we're going down to do is see the level of the pool. We pulled 4,000 gallons out. We were all excited to see what that pool looks like.
What do you think, Craig? It's been 4 years.
It's been a long time, and I'm really happy this is done. Obviously, my little ghost gremlin isn't messing with us anymore, so I think we found the solution.
All right, we're heading down, y'all. We'll see you when you get back up.
Sounds good. Perfect. All right, and now to have the moment we've all been waiting for, to see how much water is left in this sump down here. We've pulled 4,000 gallons out, so we'll see. If it's still high, it means that it's refilling at a rate of, you know, what we've been pulling out, but only time will, whoa, tell.
We're at what, 21 inches right now?
So probably what, like halfway down?
Yeah, because we started out at 40 or 38, 40 inches.
Okay.
So we're down 18 inches.
Okay.
With what we thought
Right.
the refill rate was and the size of the pool, we should have shut down at 10 inches on the 16th. We still have 10 inches to go before we would shut off.
It's interesting because you can now more clearly see the drip-in rate. It's pretty good.
It's a hefty rate.
Yeah. It's weird because when we go over there, I don't see that amount coming from anywhere, you know? So is there a way then, based upon that, to like figure out what...
I can get some roundabouts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Roundabout refill rates?
Yep, exactly. So it'll still be estimated calculations, but
Right.
they'll be a little bit more informed.
Yep. So you can see there, guys, that's the water that's leaking out. That's still pretty hefty.
Yeah, we have a hell of a lot more refill than we thought.
Woohoo! So that means it's refilled almost twice in the last month.
Probably. If the rough measurements are 2,000 gallons and we pulled 4.
Yeah. So this is awesome. That trickle of water has me so excited, and us going through such lengths to get it. is probably showing of me living in the desert for the past 4 years. But this is historic. This is very, very exciting to at least have this water source. Just to be clear, this water is never water to be used for any potable reasons. This is great for flushing toilets. It's good for some cleaning, maybe filling up our 40,000 gallon sprinkler tank. But for the hotel and really for the longevity of the town, we need a more permanent water source. And that would probably be a well. I think that the big issue with a well is that I've had hydrogeologists come up and they've told me that we're gonna have to drill at least 1,000 feet down to potentially hit something. And 1,000 feet well is very, very expensive, and there's no guarantee. You could drill down and hit nothing. And so it's a huge gamble, but it's a gamble in kind of the town's future, which makes sense, because this town was kind of built on a gamble and has been grown by gambles over and over again. So why would I think that I would be any different? But the future of the town is really in a permanent water source like a well. But this water is very, very exciting because it's sustainable. It gives us something to work with in the meantime. And so as I look to the future, it's a well, but I'm not trying to get too wrapped up in that. I'm trying to enjoy the fact that, we have this water and it seems to be refilling at a rate more than we thought. So that is very, very exciting. And over the past 4.5 years, there have been things about my daily routine that have stayed the same, and there are things that have changed. And in the changed camp, I would say, as far as things that have made the biggest impact on how I feel day in and day out, I would say that this is pretty close to the highest of the list. This is Element. It's just sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And when I first moved up here to Cerro Gordo, I would get these crazy dehydration headaches. I would cramp up on hikes. I just wasn't used to living way up here in the high desert. And Element started sending me these packs about 4 years ago, and they're super easy to use. You just take one, put in a bottle of water, shake it up, and you're good to go. There's none of that sugar or other additives. And I have found it to be a game changer up here. I don't get those dehydration headaches. I don't get the cramps. It kind of keeps me going through some of the long days up here at Cerro Gordo. And if you're wanting to give Element a chance, they're giving an 8 sample pack away for free with any purchase. Just go to drinkelement.com/Brent. That's drinklmnt.com/Brent. And again, this has been a huge game changer for me, and I hope you check it out. One of my favorite things about being up here at Cerro Gordo over the past few years is just getting to know some of the people in this area that take me on adventures that I would have never in my life imagined I would be able to go on. These adventures always give me a better understanding of this town, this area, and sometimes the creatures that are within it. Like a couple months ago when Dr. Mike Morrison came up here to Cerro Gordo, and we went down into the main Union mine searching for bats that Mike had tagged. Mike has the largest bat study anywhere in this area, and he has been tracking and following these bats for over 10 years. And it's beautiful for me because I never even gave bats a second thought more than just avoiding them when I'm down here in the mines trying to crawl around looking for things. But Mike and I went down in the mine. We were able to find a few dozen tagged bats. And that just gave me a better appreciation for everything that I had misconstrued about this animal. But that was only half of the process. In order to scan tagged bats, you have to first tag them. So this month, Mike invited me out to an abandoned mine where we were going to search for juvenile bats to tag, so then Mike could track them over many years, learn more about the migratory patterns, and just learn more about this super important creature in our daily lives.
My name is Mike Morrison, wildlife ecologist. I've spent most of my career at universities, UC Berkeley, and then most recently retired from Texas A&M. Got into bats about 30 years ago because I found them really fascinating and not many people knew a lot about them. We're going to be hopefully netting some bats in young of the year. The idea is to try nets and pit tag them. That's what people know as a microchip, except these are what they put in your dogs and cats. These are really small, about 8 millimeters long that we inject. You want to have the 0 year, knowing when they were born. Once these bats are a year old, you can't tell how old they are. So you don't know if you have a 2-year-old bat or a 15-year-old bat. In the winter, these bats go elevationally. up above 7, 8, 9,000 feet where it's cold, and they hibernate for the winter. And then what we do is we go in there and we can scan them without disturbing them to find out if they're there, if they're alive, the distance between the maternity and the hibernacula. And then in the summer when they come back, we have a bigger antenna we put in the mine or cave portal. That helps inform science, research as for their longevity and survivorship. And then for the management agencies, we're mostly on, some of it's private, but most of it's Bureau of Land Management or U.S. Forest Service. We can inform them on which specific mines or caves to protect with a certain gating they put on that the bats can get in, but the public can't, so they're not disturbed. They do that in the winter and the summer. We can't track them per se, we just have to go find them. Bat hanging right there. That's one good sign.
Oh,
Oh, they're scattered. I need the other net.
wow, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got good. We're good.
whoa, that's so many.
Hold that right like
One's on the
that.
ground.
Gently.
Yep.
Oh, that's probably going to be the end of it. Why don't you take this one
Okay.
there.
Then you want?
I'll just carry this one just in case. I
Yep.
got it. This is of catching it without letting another one go.
Oh, right.
No, that's exactly when we got a lot of young in here. This is how it's supposed to go. Okay?
That's great.
So tags. Biomark makes their fortune in fisheries. These are single application tag and a sterilized needle, and then they come with these tags, which is nice that I can put in a book. Wife came up with this cutting board.
Okay.
We have a reader for the adults to see if they're already tagged. These guys can't break your skin. Their teeth are too small, but you can still get rabies because if the saliva transferred to a cut or you wiped your eye or something. However, a rabid bat is not going to be in here acting like a normal bat. They're going to be flying around, not with the group. Rabies in this species is, whatever reason, really low. I want to take a picture.
Does it help if you blow in the thing?
That's an adult, so I'll see if it's already tagged. It is.
Wow.
I'm going to make sure it's the right number because I got the thing in my hand. And you can see on the female, trying to see if you can see her mammaries. She's been nursing, and they wear away the fur.
Whoa.
So, and she's a female because there's no baculum,
Whoa.
no penis bone. I'll show you a male that has them. So that's a Townsend's big-eared bat. So the number is 894559.
Whoa.
You can tell it's a juvenile because it's gray, where the adults are brown, and also the size. They'll be full size, pretty much full size when they go into hibernation. The young of the year we know mostly all follow their mother to the hibernacula. This is a male, juvenile male. All right. Make sure your assistant does that right, okay?
Yes. There you go. Now you look like you're really helping.
Yep. I like to get them tagged first to make sure what they are. I can usually tell sometimes the old or young. Yeah, okay, that's tagged. It's an adult. It's lots of 94 pounds.
What's the final count?
25 bats.
How many juveniles are?
There was 11 adults, 11 adult bats and 14 juveniles.
Like, how does that stack up as far as like the amount?
Usually I don't get quite as many adults compared to the juveniles, but some of them didn't fly, so.
And so now a new batch of bats are tagged, and we wait. You know, who knows? Maybe some of those bats are gonna flap their way over here to Cerro Gordo. We're gonna scan them in a couple of years here in the Union Mine, which would be really cool. And I just think about bats so much more than I did before going on any of these adventures with Mike, which I appreciate. You know, it just colors in a little bit more of the picture of Cerro Gordo. You know, it makes me appreciate them in a way that before I never did. And that just makes, I think, the entire experience here that much more rich. And so I appreciate Mike taking me on these adventures. You know, I really appreciate everybody in this whole area that's kind of taken me under their wing over the past couple of years. And I can't wait to see what, you know, the next few years hold up here. In a fun update, it is here, a pond in the middle of the desert, in the middle of this old mining town. We have a little water source to sit by, and this might not look like a lot, but this was just a patch of dirt a couple months ago. We had a rented backhoe, dug a hole, put some pond liner down, some rocks, and now we have this to sit by. And growing up, I had this little pond in my backyard. I remember sitting by it and just enjoying watching the birds and the different wildlife. And it's very peaceful. But for a long time, I wanted a little pond. And you know what? Now we have a little pond and the animals are loving it. I had this trail came up there and there's just so many birds that have come to. We have a fox that visits at night, all these little critters that I didn't even know were in town. And one day I remember this whole hillside was just covered with chukars, which are kind of these desert pheasant things, which is great, except for they also decimated my garden, ate almost everything in there. So it's learning. You know, it's a balancing act up here in the desert. If you want water, you have to take with it some other things. But generally, I think having this is awesome. I think long term, it's gonna bring some really fun things. So just as a kind of a fun, quick update, the pond is in existence and it's looking good. Wow, fancy, looking good. Yeah, how you feel? Feel good? Good. And other than the birds, here are the real companions in the town, my buddies over the past 4 years. This is Beretta, the goats. We got Tofu there in the back, Elon over here, some newcomers in the mix too. These guys are great. You know, originally when I got the animals, I thought, oh, these would be great companions, you know, but I think more than that, they're kind of a meditative device, you know, because Beretta, or Tofu here, doesn't care what's going on. She needs to get fed now. So it kind of breaks you out of whatever loop you're under. And so having these guys here has been a real joy over the past few years. And I hope to have goats and animals here all the time. Just again, for that reminder that, hey, you know, your problems don't matter to these goats. They need to get fed. But animals up here in town do a big thing. They're doing good. Thought I'd do a quick check-in, show everybody off. Oh, fancy. I love hanging out with these guys. Wow. The other thing I have been up to is tinkering. Tinkering so much that I even had to get a new shop that you see around me, even with a fancy sign up above me from an old movie set. But I'm mainly tinkering on trying to take the minerals of Cerro Gordo down to the metallic state. You know, for the longest time, I would say the largest silver mine in California without ever having refined galena down to silver. And recently I got into the other minerals. You know, I did a whole video about taking this, which is smithsonite, all the way down into zinc. Zinc was responsible for 20 or 30 years of history up here, you know, and understanding it thoroughly just makes me feel a lot more connected to the mineral. And what I've been focusing on is this, which is malachite, which is a copper ore. And copper was kind of a minor afterthought when it came to the Cerro Gordo mines, but in 1 year they report 200 tons of copper coming out of the hole right over there. So obviously copper was pretty important, and copper, I have found, a little bit luckier than zinc when it comes to refining, because copper, I think, is the oldest metal that humans ever interacted with. And so basically all I've been doing is crushing up the malachite, crushing up some charcoal, combining them, and then eventually at the end you have these little beads of copper left at the bottom, which is really cool. You know, I've been experimenting with which source of malachite around the property provides the most copper, and it's cool because now I know how to refine the smithsonite at Cerro Gordo down to zinc. I know how to refine the malachite down to copper, and with copper and zinc you can make brass. That is right. And so I've been experimenting with different brass situations up here. All right, so once you get your copper, the little beads out of the malachite, and you have the zinc, we can go from there and put in the copper. And we're gonna wait on the zinc, we're gonna melt this, add the zinc when this is heated up a little bit, and hopefully end up with some brass. So first step, put it in here, heat it up, and we wait. All right, now that the brass is nice and hot, we're gonna throw the zinc in there, like so. Try to not have oxygen go in. I'm gonna let that heat up for a little bit. We're gonna see what happens. And after all that, we have a little bit of Cerro Gordo brass. That is awesome. This might be the first time that anybody's made specifically Cerro Gordo brass. I think this is gonna unlock all sorts of fun new projects. Might be the closest I get to finding gold up here. But that is some brass made from the copper and zinc of Cerro Gordo. I've been working on one video for well over a month now, doing something very fun with brass. If you have any idea what that would be, leave a comment below. But I think that just through all of that, I just have a better appreciation for the town and just a better understanding of it too. You know, the town, these buildings that I'm in wouldn't exist without galena or without smithsonite. And so fully understanding them and understanding how much work it takes to get the minerals out of it, it's been really rewarding. So look out over the next coming months for some more mineral videos, especially one related to brass that I'm very, very excited about, but I haven't finished yet. But I think it's needed. You know, you need a mineral shop if you're gonna own an old abandoned mining town. And so this month, kind of remedied that, and I've been really enjoying being up here. A fun update that I am finally ready to share after almost a year of development is wrapped up in this box. This box has a year of work. It has the help from hundreds of people all over the globe. This is the history of Cerro Gordo. This is my experiences living up here over the past 4 years, all in a very, very fun way, which is a Cerro Gordo board game. This is something that we've been working on for almost a year now, and it is awesome. It's kind of this game where you're competitively co-building a mining town, Cerro Gordo, back in the West. It's got all the big characters from Cerro Gordo's past. You got Mortimer Belshaw, Remy Nadeau, John Simpson, Lola Travis, Victor Beaudry. You know, each of the characters has their own power. They have their own incentives. There's all these different events that are based on historical incidences here. You know, there's different natural occurrences, all sorts of different things that basically ensure that every single time you play this thing, it's gonna be a different game. And it is really, really fun to finally see this in real life. This is something that's been dreamed of for a very long time now. And you know, we're not quite there yet. This thing is launching in a week or so, but we have a website set up. It's just ghosttownlivinggames.com. And there you can be an early supporter. I have some really cool things like these pins that are only available to early supporters. It's only $2 to kind of pledge your support to the game when it comes out. And it just means a lot. You know, I really appreciate the support over the past 4 years, and I'm really excited about kind of this new way to interact with the history here. Again, just go to ghosttownlivinggames.com. You can be an early supporter there, learn a lot more about it, but I'm excited about this one. I hope you guys check it out. After almost 5 years, Cerro Gordo has become more than just a project. It's a mirror of my own growth, my dreams, and even my sense of purpose. That connection that I feel to this place is deeper than I ever thought was possible. It's almost like the town and I are intertwined, and when the town feels stagnant, so do I. But when there's progress, when things are moving forward, life just surges through me, because there's nothing quite like that sound of progress, you know, saws cutting through old wood, the beeping of heavy machinery. And those sounds filled the air this month, and they made it probably the best month of the year. And having the roof goes up gives me hope. Hope that we'll finally enclose this thing this year. And maybe, just maybe, it'll be finished and opened in 2025. And that hope, that progress, it reignited me. It reminded me why I keep pushing. Not just for myself, but for the hundreds of people who have helped along the way. For the families who once worked at these mines. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of their history on my shoulders. And you know what? That's a weight I'll carry proudly. It's something that I searched for a long time before Cerro Gordo. This place brings out the best of me. It forces me to adapt, to grow, year after year. It's not always easy, but it's fulfilling in ways that I never could have imagined. And I said at the beginning of this video that I barely remember who I was before I came here. And I'm okay with that, because now I'm better. I'm more grounded, more alive. And every month here brings me closer to understanding Cerro Gordo and understanding myself. There's going to be more ups and downs ahead, no doubt about it, but I'm here for it. I'm ready for it whenever it comes. And I can't thank all of you enough for sticking with me on this journey. It means the world.